lending to businesses, particularly small businesses. And for a closer look at the findings, I'm joined by the chairman of UHY Haines Norton, David Tomasi. David, great to have you with us. Thanks for your time. I guess, you know, at first blush, you look at this survey, you look at the numbers, it comes as no real surprise. I mean, small business in particular has been screaming from the rooftops about lack of access to funding since the GFC.
Yeah, that's right, Kylie. It really, the study, the UHY study showed some surprising numbers actually when you look at it. There was no surprise with Ireland, for instance. That dropped 42%, which you would expect given the circumstances that Ireland faced coming out of the GFC. But surprisingly, Italy increased by 5% and Australia decreased by 6% against that, with Spain, even though it only contracted 3% in comparison to Australia. So there were some surprising numbers coming out of our study that we did. And if you look at it and try to get some reasoning behind that, you know, the only thing you can really look at is to say, well, you know, the business confidence in Australia has really struggled.
I guess to play devil's advocate, the banks would say, you know, you can throw around all those numbers from all those other countries, but Australia has one of the, if not the strongest banking sector in the world, and the reason is because they simply just don't take on as much risk as anybody else.
Yeah, possibly, but you know, I think it'd be easy to bash the banks, but there's a lot to be said for this lack of business confidence that we're seeing out there. UHY Haines Norton, we offer a lot of support to the SME market in Australia and New Zealand, and as a result of that, we're right at the coalface and we see it every day. And there's many mixed messages getting out there at the moment. You know, there's the European debt crisis that we read about all the time. There's the slowdown in China, which I think your previous guest was even talking about. There was the uncertainty around the mining and carbon taxes. And all these things, you know, contribute to the melting pot that the business owner has, and the consumer sentiment and the business sentiment all translates to lower confidence. So as a result of that, you know, we see people hanging on to their money, they're paying down debt, the money's not getting out there. And, you know, the two-speed economy is something that's really affecting us, because we have this so-called mining boom and resources boom, which is out there, but with the expenditure that's coming with the resources boom, it's not, as I said earlier, finding its way through to the general economy. So the normal economic multipliers that occur when you have a sector of the economy that's in boom just isn't happening.
So, I mean, just in a minute or less, I don't know if you can solve the whole problem, but what is the solution?
Well, obviously, the Reserve Bank has a little bit up its sleeve with interest rates, and I know this week Solomon Lew came out and said, you know, the Reserve Bank should cut 75 basis points, but, you know, the interest rates haven't moved in sync, because the banks have been going the other way of late. I firmly believe that if we do something with some investment incentives, and the government has some control over that through investment allowances, and particularly over the longer term, not just one-offs like we saw off the back of the GFC, but some longer-term tax breaks around investment, which would encourage our smaller businesses, get them back into investment, and therefore back into the economy with some spending, rather than putting the money away, saving it for the rainy day, or paying down debt because of all these mixed messages they're getting from around the globe.
All right, we have to leave it there, but I do thank you in Adelaide, David Tomasi. Thanks very much for being on Switzer tonight.
Thanks, Kylie.
And if you